Hello, this is Father Michael Nasser coming to you from St. Nicholas Orthodox Church here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with this week's midweek reflection. And this week I'm reflecting on one of the teachings of Jesus that doesn't seem to really be theological. It seems to be sort of a kind of a self-help, go through life kind of piece of advice, is when he says, let the day's own troubles be enough for the day. Don't be anxious about tomorrow. Let the day's own troubles be enough for the day. You think about it, like it doesn't seem to be a theological or spiritual kind of thing. It may be kind of like, how to have good living. And I think it's a really important thing about good living. A lot of us think a lot about depression, anxiety today, because a lot of people are suffering from depression and anxiety. And it's a very real thing. So what I'm about to say does not denigrate the reality of that. However, I think we really haven't really thought about why is it such a problem today. And here's one of the reasons why. It's only one, but I think it's an important one. I think it's because too many of us are not living by letting the day's own troubles be enough for the day. And we don't, one of the ways we don't do that is by not facing the day's troubles. I think a lot of us get stuck in what's called procrastination. There are things that we should do, and we should do them today. And sometimes a lot of us, when we see what we have to do, we get anxious, we get a little overwhelmed, and sometimes a lot overwhelmed, and we just put it off. We say, well, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow. And all that really does is it pushes something that you should be doing today, and it pushes it forward. Another phrase that we use sometimes is kicking the can down the road. There's a can, and I don't know why there's a can there. Maybe it's just a can that needs to be picked up and thrown away. But instead of picking it up, we kick it down the road. That we do that with a lot of the things that we need to do in life that are important for us to do, and sometimes we kick them down the road and we keep them ahead of us. Only every day when we're doing that, now the things that are still ahead of us are growing and growing and growing, and that pile is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, causing, I'm afraid, more and more anxiety and more depression. Not the only cause, but I think an important one. Sometimes when people are struggling with something or they're upset, we say, well, just put it behind you. And I think that advice to put things behind us is a really important piece of advice. That when we face what we have to do each and every day, at least what we could be reasonably expected to do on a daily basis, and we face it, we deal with it, we put it behind us, we don't keep pushing it ahead of us into that big growing snowball of things that just keeps growing whatever we push ahead and stays ahead of us. Now, why I think Jesus taught this was, this is life as God designed it, that we would encounter the work, the effort that we have to put out each and every day, but to do that days. In other words, not to do that days, to do that day's work, and not to do yesterday's work or tomorrow's work. Do that day's work. Face that day's struggles and efforts. To face it and to go through it. I think it's a theological, spiritual issue, because we can do that, and we can do it beautifully and peacefully, even if it's hard work. We can do that with God. So I think his advice to not be anxious about tomorrow, but let the day's own troubles be enough for the day. Face today's troubles. Deal with today's troubles. Don't avoid today's troubles. Don't push it forward where it keeps gathering with the next days and the next days and the next days. But get it behind us. Deal with what we have to do. Do the hard work. Face it. Get it behind us. I think that's why, one of the reasons why a lot of people are really struggling. It's not just with general anxiety or depression. Why is it general? Because a lot of people keep pushing things ahead, and it builds 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 and creates lots of anxiety and depression. So I think we should take Jesus' advice, and I think all of us should really make a good effort to deal with what we need to do on a daily basis. To do those things, not to not do them, not to hide from, not to avoid them, which is really just pushing them down the road where there'll be the next day's problems, along with that day's problems. But to take the strength and the peace, the assurance that we can have in Christ, to face what we have to do each and every day, to do it, to face it with his strength, with the knowledge that he loves us, he's with us, face that day's problems, and then peacefully end the day. And then we go into the next day and with his strength, deal with that day's problems. So let's put as much as we can behind us. Let's not kick down the can down the road, but let the day's troubles be enough. Let's deal with them, face them with God's love and his strength. I hope you found this helpful, and if so, please share with your friends via any method that you find convenient or helpful. And God willing, we'll see you in next week's video.